Welcome back to Just Scribble for part 2 of my mini travel art setup. So if you didn't catch the first part of this video series, I will link it below so that you can see it. And in that video, I go over my passport trifold from Sojourner and what I have in it for my mini art setup. And then I talked a little bit about the tools and items that I carry in my extra small Delphonics pouch that goes with that passport, and the two together are my mini or travel art setup. But what I didn't go over in the first video in detail was my pocket palettes, and so that's what part 2 is about. So I wanted to talk to you about these pocket palettes. So I found out about the Art-ToolKit pocket palettes from Expeditionary Art from Bree at Documented Journey. So she uses these pocket palettes and I thought they were really cute and fun and unique. And so I decided to buy one and try it out and I really liked it. So then I decided I would get another one and I would also get the mini and I would build a little travel art set. And so I was going to show you a little bit about the product and then I'm going to actually show you my palettes and what I have in them, what goes with me in my passport travel setup. So this is a little card from Expeditionary Art that thanks me for my purchase and gives the hashtags and the website information so that you can make sure that you are tagging them and using the right hashtags on Instagram so that they can see when you use their products. And this is their little business card and their little thank you card. So on the back it has some information about your palette and how to set them up, how to clean them and keep them in their best condition. And so initially I bought one palette, which was this pocket palette, and I bought the black one. I'm actually going to put vinyl stickers on these. So they come with these pans in them, and actually it came with 4 more. These are the extra pans from my 2 palettes because I took them out and replaced them with mixing trays. And so they come with the pans, but they come empty. They do sell sometimes that have the pans already filled with some watercolors, Daniel Smith mostly I think, but I bought mine empty so that I could make my own palettes and pick my own colors. And so I bought that initially and then I went back and bought a second one, and I also bought the mini version of it. And this thing is tiny, so I figured I would show you guys with like a hotel card because it's kind of the same size as a credit card. So if you look at the pocket one, it's about the same size, a little bit larger than the hotel key card, right? So a little bit bigger than your credit card. This little guy is tiny. It's about half the size, it's almost the exact same height, and about half the size of the card. So that gives you an idea. And it comes with these little pans in it. These are mini pans, and so it comes with 12 mini pans in it, whereas this one comes with 14, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 4, yeah. 14 of these regular sized pans. So when I bought my second one, I bought mixing trays with the mixing pan. And so I replaced 4 of the little paint pans with this mixing tray because I wanted some extra mixing space. But more it was because I was trying to limit the number of colors that I put into my palettes, and I needed more than would fit in one of these pocket palettes, but I didn't really want to add 8 more colors and get too many colors for on the go. And so I wanted to try to stick to some basics and kind of build my own palette, but I wanted to have room to grow in the future, but I also didn't want to add too much, if that makes sense. So I replaced it with the mixing trays in both of them. But I did also order some extra pans, and so I actually haven't even opened these because I haven't had a need to, but I will open them right now and show you guys. I ordered a set of these double pans, and so they are double the size. As you can see, it's the size of 2 of the regular pans that go in the pocket palette. And so I ordered a set of the double pans. And then these are extra mini pans, so they are this size. And so I ordered extras of these, and that's what's in there. And then I ordered some large pans. I really don't expect that I actually need a pan this large, but I thought if I was ordering and I was pink shipping, I might as well throw them in. And then that way I have all of the pan sizes for any needs that I might have. And so these are all magnetized on the bottom. And so the pans come out and then the new pan would fit in. So I could take out 8 of these pans and I could put this giant pan in. And so I could do 5 colors, one like where I had a ton of paint and then 4 little ones, or I could put this into my larger palettes, or I could use it for a mixing tray really if I wanted to, but I wanted the mixing trays that have the white on them because they clean off and they're made for mixing. So that is like my stuff from the Art-ToolKit. And so each of the little palettes comes in a little bag. And so you get a little drawstring bag for it. And so that's what I'm going to be storing all my extra pans in. So that is just kind of the product, just so you can see it and you have an idea. But really what I wanted to show you guys was my actual palettes. So I am by no means a watercolor expert. I am learning how to watercolor, and I did have some watercolors, but they weren't as nice of brands, and so they don't do as well on all paper, and they weren't really performing the way that I thought watercolors should perform. And so I gifted those to my 6-year-old and decided that I was going to make a custom palette for me. And so I researched a bunch. I read a ton of articles and I watched a ton of YouTube videos on how to build your perfect palette. And there are tons of opinions, but the general premise or the general concept on most of them was that you should have a warm and a cool tone of all of your primary colors, and that would get you a full palette of everything that you needed. And that you didn't need anything really other than that, and maybe a gray or a neutral. And so I started with that premise, and I got my warm red and my cool red and my warm yellow and my cool yellow and my blues. Then I decided, no, I really want some greens, and oh, I really want some ochre, and I wanted some kind of funky colors too. And so I started watching videos with samples of watercolors and kind of narrowed down what I thought would be a good basic beginner watercolor set. Of course, I had to put it into 2 palettes because I had 6 more than would fit into one of these, but I was okay with that. Sometimes I only need one of these and sometimes I need both of them, but they're so tiny and compact and they fit together and they're super small and they fit into the pocket of my Delphonics pouch and they take up like no space whatsoever. So I was okay with having 2, and I still have room to grow if there were some funky colors that I wanted or anything like that. So I did buy 3 brands of watercolors. I am not set on only using one brand of watercolor. Although I think Daniel Smith watercolors are awesome, I actually really like Graham watercolors, and I also really like Turner watercolors. And so what I did was I bought kind of a mixture. If I liked the color or found a color in one brand that was a single pigment, which is what I preferred, then I would buy that. And then I kind of mixed and made my own palettes. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to swatch out my palettes so you can see the colors, and I will go over which colors come from which company. So I made this card. This is on watercolor paper. And so I made this card and I wrote out the name of each color, and it goes in order of my palettes. So the first 2 rows here are this palette, and the last 2 rows are this palette, and it goes in order. And then at the end of each I listed in parentheses the brand. So T is Turner, DS is Daniel Smith, MG is M. Graham. And so you'll see which brand each one is, and I will go through it. I will say that Pale Wisteria doesn't really have any need to be in my palette. It's not something that I really had to have. I just really like purple and I really like the color, so I decided to add it. And so that's kind of how that one ended up. It is the funkiest of the colors in my palettes, I think, because it's pale and a little chalky and a little weird, but I like it. So I am going to be using my pocket brush. It's a water brush, a koi water brush, and this one has the large size brush, and so that's what I'm going to use to do this swatching so that you guys can see the colors. So I'm just going to start by laying down some colors, and I've not used this brush before, so it really has not been primed very well. But you can see I'm gonna put down darker and then kind of run it out to show you the color and how it goes if you add more water to it. So that is what I'm going to do, and then we're gonna go through each one. So this is Cadmium Red, and this is from Turner. Quinacridone Rose from Daniel Smith. Cadmium Yellow from Turner. Hansa Yellow Light from Daniel Smith. When I first set my palette, I originally actually didn't have 2 yellows and I was gonna do less colors, and I actually didn't have an orange because you could make orange, but then I decided I wanted those in there also, so I added those to it, and I'm glad that I did. I've actually used the Hansa Yellow Light a lot in my fall watercolors, so it's been super helpful. Opera Pink. And this got added because I felt like I just really needed to have a bright, fun pink in my palette. That is Daniel Smith. This is Quinacridone Violet, also from Daniel Smith. I really like this color. It is a really pretty kind of purple color. This is Dioxazine Purple from M. Graham. It has a lot of pigment to it. It doesn't take very much paint at all. This is Yellow Ochre from M. Graham. If you guys hear crazy noises in the background, that is my oldest dog who is sick, and so she's hacking up all sorts of stuff. This is the Pale Wisteria from Turner. I thought this, although it's purple, it kind of is the equivalent of having a white in my palette, so if I needed to lighten something up, I think I could mix it. I haven't tried yet, but I could mix it and lighten stuff up like that. So that was my first one, my first palette, and so I put all my reds, yellows, orange, purples kind of together. And then this is my second one. So this is Phthalo Green Blue shade from Daniel Smith. And this is Phthalo Turquoise, which I just absolutely love. It's not like the prettiest color ever. This is Cerulean Blue. This is Phthalo Blue Red from Turner. This is Phthalo Green Yellow from Daniel Smith. This is Viridian. This actually came, this is from Imgram. So when I bought some Imgrams, I bought them in a set, and this one came. And initially I thought I didn't really need it because it was very similar to some of the other greens, but then I realized I really like it. I think it's a really pretty green, so I left it in. This is Raw Umber from Turner. It's a very like grainy color, but I like it. I think everyone has to have browns in their palette. This is Neutral Tint from Imgram. So it is very gray. Got too much on my brush. This is Burnt Sienna. And this is Payne's Gray from Daniel Smith, which is a very cool gray compared to the neutral tint. So those are my two palettes that I put together to create my travel palette. I have not been using my full-size palette. I do have one that I have trays filled with all these colors, but I actually really like these palettes. I like the size of them, I like the mixing trays, I like the ease of being able to set them out. They don't take a lot of space on our table or at my desk, or if I'm sitting on the couch and watercoloring, and so I like them a lot. And I'm really happy with my palette. It's not the palette necessarily other people would say, oh, this should be your perfect palette of your basics, right? And it's not what necessarily you're supposed to have, but it makes me happy, and I really love the colors, and I love how they work together. I love how they mix. They mix well together regardless of the brands, and I just think they're really, really pretty. So there's my yellows and pinks and oranges and purples, and then my browns and neutrals and greens and blues. So that is my colors for my pocket palettes that I use on the go. They go into my extra small Dolphonics pouch with a clip, and pocket watercolor brushes from Sakura. They're koi watercolor brushes. There's 3 of them. I have a mister in there. I have a Bolograph ballpoint pen in there. And then in my travel passport mini art journal, on my center dashboard, I have swatches of the colors in order that they are in my palettes so that I can quickly see where they are or what colors they are. So I've used my watercolors in here, I've used them in my journal, and then I've done separate larger pieces with them as well. So I'm very happy with my watercolor set and my palette for my watercolors, and I really love my palettes from the Art-ToolKit. I had a really great experience shopping with them. They're super helpful. It ships really, really fast. It would be a great gift idea if you needed something for a friend or for yourself for your birthday or for the holidays. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of this video series sharing my mini travel art set. If you have any questions about any of the paints that I showed here or any of the products that I showed in this video or anything from the first video as well from part 1, please don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to just scribble.